You're listening to the Storied Coaching Podcast with Aaron J. Jacobs, episode number 104. This week, we're going to talk about how to set the tone by being the thermostat and not the thermometer. Forward.
What if you could rewrite your current story? How would you spend your time? What would your career or business look like? What kind of life would you design? Welcome to Storied Coaching, the podcast for high-performing leaders that provides you with tools and insights for building a thriving business that fuels an amazing life on your terms. I'm Aaron J. Jacobs, and as a master coach and the CEO of OMH Creative and Storied Coaching, I've had the privilege and opportunity to learn what it takes to rewrite your story. It's never too late for a rewrite.
Welcome to the podcast this week, heroes. I am excited to talk to you because I got to do something really fun this last week, and that was experience a watershed moment with my son, my oldest boy. He is a sophomore, newly minted in high school, and he decided this year that he wanted to go out for the school musical for the fall. And he really hasn't been a trained singer up to this point. Myself, I am a trained singer. So is my wife. I actually have an advanced degree in it. Some of you that have been listening to this podcast for a while know that when I first started out, my degree, in fact, my master's is in acting and directing and musical theater performance. And that's how I got into casting. And then I got into producing and opening up my own casting company and then selling that and then starting my own production company. And then the marketing stuff came after that. It's all been a journey. But my roots are very much in performance. And so I was very excited to get to help him with all of the mass knowledge I accumulated, as well as the mass loans that I accumulated over the years for getting the said degrees. So we had a really interesting conversation that I wanted to share with you because I think it applies so much to the business, entrepreneurial, and leadership world when you are molding your own story and telling your own story for yourself, for your business, for all kinds of different things that you're doing. And that is the concept that actors and performers know very well, which is being the thermostat and not the thermometer. And here's what I mean by that. You want to be proactive versus reactive when you are engaging with your audience. And this goes for if you're on stage or in front of a camera on a TV show or a movie set, or whether you are presenting from the stage as an entrepreneur, whether you're pitching to a client, whether you are in a team meeting and you are presenting an idea that you feel like should be what they adopt and what they go forward with. You want to be the thermostat, not the thermometer. And networking events especially. We all have some social anxiety, right? When we go into networking events, it's perfectly normal. I know I do as well. I'm raising my hand right now. If you're not watching this on YouTube and you're listening to the podcast, I absolutely have. Everyone does. You're going into a room. If you're lucky, you maybe know a couple of people, but a lot of times when you're going to these industry events and things like that, you don't know a lot of people, or there will at least be some times when you don't. And a lot of that anxiety can come from the fact that people feel like they should be a thermometer, that whatever the temperature of the room is, whatever the temperature of the conversation they walk into or the other person sets, that they're just going to adjust accordingly like a thermometer would. And you might have some limited success with this early on. But it's a lot of work adjusting from one conversation to another, how that room is on that particular day. There are always micro interactions that you can adjust a little bit, but they should be very small and they should not compromise who you are and the energy that you want to project in order to get the result that you want. Now, when actors are doing this on stage, good ones especially that are doing it on stage, the audience can be different every single night. And so you learn very early on that if they are at a different temperature than you, that you will just adjust the temperature as the thermostat, not the thermometer. Be proactive about it. So this is what I told my son. When he goes into the audition, you take the stage. And I'm saying take, not go on. You take the stage because it's now your stage. This is your time to audition, your time to sing your song, your time to use the space however you see fit. And the same thing can be said when you're telling your story, whether that's visually on an actual stage itself, virtually, like I'm doing right now on a podcast or a video that you're making. It's all about setting that temperature yourself and letting that tone infect and help buoy everybody else. Now, we've all probably run into somebody in our lives that maybe it was someone who was presenting from a stage, maybe it was a movie star or a a TV personality or someone, maybe it's a sports figure, that when they walk into a room, you could feel the energy. It was palpable and it's infectious to the rest of the people around them. And there is a way for you to do that as well. You should be in charge of setting the temperature in the room, not walking around the room, taking the temperature and adapting accordingly. It's proactive versus reactive. The reason that you want to do that as well is because of the fact that it is so much easier. Once you get the hang of it, once you realize that you get to set the tone, that you don't have to ask permission, you can do it in a micro interaction in a small group or one-on-one, or if you're on a stage, you can decide to set the tone for the entire audience. It is your power unless you give it up. Unless you start to make changes based off of feedback that you're getting, whether it's facial expressions or whether it is someone else talking to you and moving into another place, and then you interpreting that as, oh, they probably didn't really want to talk to you. And then you take that energy with you to the next conversation. And then all of a sudden you're feeling more and more unsure. There's these little things that happen to us in these kinds of situations. So before entering a team Zoom call, presenting to a customer, going to a networking event, this is how you set the temperature. This is how you are the thermostat and not the thermometer. It's very easy, but it takes just a little bit of visualization. Let's say you were going to a networking event. All right, let's use that. You just got off work. It's an event from 6 to 7:30. You're maybe even not looking forward to that much. You wish you could just go home and watch some Netflix, but you're there, you need to go. And so you're going to do it. Now, before you go into the event, when you're still in your car, what I want you to do is take 2 minutes. 2 minutes, this is all it takes. I want you to close your eyes. I want you just to focus on your breathing a little bit. Don't try to control it, but just natural in and out. Take a couple of deep breaths, let them out. And I want you to think through the event you're about to walk into. The event that you want to meet people. What do you want to happen? What outcomes do you want, ideally? What emotional temperature would suit that outcome? Here's what I mean by that. If I go in and I'm bombastic and I'm very big and I'm very gesticulate and I'm just have all of this like big energy, how will that affect other people in the room? Will that be magnetic or will it push them away? Different people are going to have a different effect, but think about what that means for you. Now, if you go into an event and you decide to talk with people, maybe think about the fact that they are so excited to meet you, that the temperature that you're giving out is so enigmatic, so magnetic, that they are just lining up to talk with you. This is what actors do when they are on stage and they're doing things that are in a live environment, or they're even speaking from the stage, is they go in and they go in with the energy. You don't feed off the energy just from the audience. You can feed off the energy that you are getting from people, and that can be very helpful, but you are setting the tone. You are the one that is the thermostat, not the thermometer. Once you start to do this, you'll notice that you feel more in control of the situations that you're in, whether that's on camera, whether that is recording a podcast, whether that is writing copy, whether that is recording yourself for a pitch, whether that is live, whether all these different situations, or a networking event like I was just talking about. All of these things you can affect by being intentional with the energy that you're bringing to the situation and not wavering. Other things can happen. That's totally fine. Your emotional center is the thermostat. You are not adapting to other people and letting them sway you one way or another with their behavior. You can go in centered and stay that way throughout the event. If you don't want to drink alcohol, what we call liquid courage, you don't have to. You can go in and just have that energy. You don't need to have something else in your system in order to create this. A lot of times there's alcohol at these networking events and things like that because people do get so socially anxious. And if you want to have a drink, that's totally fine. But what I'm saying is it's been most effective for me to stay on top of setting the temperature and being the thermostat, not the thermometer, when I don't have a buzz on. When I am just there, I know what my intention is. I'm excited to talk with people. I want to hear their stories, and I'm there to help. When I go in with that intention, when I go with those thermostat settings of wanting to be helpful, of being excited to meet people and excited to hear their story. It's amazing. I can't have enough people to talk to. People are coming over to me. I'm not having to seek people out. I'm not feeling weird in a corner because my intention is that way. And I'm seeking people out because I think they're interesting. I've decided that they are fascinating and I want to talk with them. So that is the hack that I would do right there to start with, is that 2 minutes in the car, close your eyes. What is the temperature you want to bring to it? What's the energy you want to bring to it? The emotional energy. How do you want to help people? How do you want to serve them? Are you excited to hear their stories? Think about things like that could be very magnetic for you. That it's so interesting how it also makes you magnetic. It makes people drawn to you because of that positive energy that you're bringing to it. There's also a physical hack that you can do, which I would encourage you to do. And some of you have watched, and if you haven't already, I highly recommend it. There is a TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. Just Google TED Talk Amy Cuddy. It's no way that you can't find it. Okay. And she talks about the physiological gesture. Okay. She calls it power posing. And it's all about using your physical body to inform your emotional state and how that can be really helpful to you when you are going into an environment where you want to take up more space or you want to come with a certain energy. I said psychological gesture before because that is how I know it. We used to talk about psychological gestures for our characters when we were about to go on stage. There's some very famous actors that use this all the time as well. They find something anchoring, a physical gesture that their character would do, and they do that right before they walk on stage because it catapults them. It sets the temperature for them in their thermostat so that they can then go out and perform really well. So, Power Posing TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. Check that out as well. That can be a fantastic tool to use with the exercise that I just gave you in order to be the thermostat and not the thermometer. Like I said, the reason that I want you to practice this and the reason that I wanted my son to do it as well is because it actually takes less energy than constantly having to readjust and be a thermometer in social situations, on the stage, creating content, writing content, any of that stuff, or leading your team. It will make you question yourself and second guess yourself way less when you decide to be the thermostat and not the thermometer. Remember, be the thermometer in the past. Be the thermostat now. Thermostat, not the thermometer. It's so much easier, less exhausting. You're going to really enjoy doing this once you practice it a couple times. All right, my friends, that's all I have for you right now. But as it starts to cool down, at least here in the Pacific Northwest, I'll be raising my thermostat a little bit. But I want all of you to be raising your thermostat to the results that you want to get in your next interaction and the next story that you decide to tell about yourself, your brand, your leadership, or where you want your business to go. I'll talk to you soon, my friends. Have a fantastic week. That's all for now. If you are a man interested in learning more about testosterone optimization and other cutting-edge wellness therapies coupled with high-performance coaching, you have to check out olympusmen.com. There you will find out more about how to work with us, as well as a free guide that will answer everything you always wanted to know about testosterone therapy and if it might be right for you. Head to olympusmen.com right now to learn more.
Thanks for listening to Storied Coaching with Aaron J. Jacobs. If you want more information or resources from the podcast, visit us at storiedcoaching.com.